Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Reinventing Mental Health, where we are exploring root causes for mental health and talking to people about their own journeys. Today, we have with us my friend Candace Hunt. So, thank you so much for joining
Thank you
us.
for having me.
So, tell us and our viewers a little bit about you, what you do, and why you do it.
As you said, I'm Candace. I am a career coach and a business consultant. When people ask me what I do, it could be like a loaded question. So, what I've narrowed it down to is I help leaders own their voice, their value, and their careers. And I do so by a number of ways. One, professional speaking. I've got TEDx coming up, so a selected TEDx speaker. I do workshops virtually and all around the city. And I have a podcast where we release episodes every week where we share 5 to 7 minutes of personal development, career growth hacks, and we interview people in a setting like this just to share unique stories and help people kind of overcome their challenges maybe faster than we overcame ours at 5 Minute Career Hack. I'm also the co-founder of Riley Design, so I like to say burnout saved my life. So I hit a really hard burnout stint in 2020,
Okay.
and I basically had to rip my life apart and start over, Humpty Dumpty all the way. And
So,
so,
what did life look like when we hit that hump?
yeah. So what it looked like in real life versus what it looked like on LinkedIn is
Mhm.
two different things. On
Mhm.
LinkedIn and Facebook.
Yep.
I want to share too, like how that led to Radio Designs, thriving career, married with 2 kids, moving from city to city, always getting promoted. Just everything that was somebody's wildest dream, my family's wildest dream. I was living in accordance to what other people wanted me to do, and it looked like I was living somebody else's dream. So that's what it looked like. Great
Mhm.
pictures, all smiles, fake smiles.
Mhm.
And then one day I decided to start dealing with my trauma for real because I got tired of crying on my pillow and in my car on the way home. And so I just made a courageous decision that I was going to start addressing my personal trauma, which led to me addressing my workplace trauma, realizing I was burned out. New exploration. I started an affirmation journey, and my daughter was watching. And she said, "Oh, that's cool." So she started doing affirmations. And now we do affirmation t shirts and custom t shirts for organizations.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay. So when you made this shift, like what were the pieces that had to fall apart so that you could rebuild?
I like to talk about it as like a domino. The first thing I had to address was because I didn't realize how it was showing up in every other area of my life, including work and in my household. But I was abused sexually when I was a child, and I
I'm so
held that
sorry.
inside. Thank you for saying that. All things work together. So I see the beauty on the other side of it.
Mhm.
But I held that for 30 years. I had told a select few people because I was controlling a narrative. I was controlling the work narrative, the marriage narrative,
Mhm.
all those things. The first domino was me deciding that I was going to tell my family that this had happened because we were having fake relationships and I was starting to get a little tired of it. First domino, then it dropped and was like, if I can do that, then let me tell my job that this is not right what we're doing up here. This is the toxicity and the long hours and the underappreciation and all these things. I don't want to really deal with that anymore. So I had a courageous conversation with my work. One thing led to another. I ended
Mhm.
up moving on to a different to 5 Minute Career Hack and a different endeavor. So that domino was like another piece of courage that kind of sparked in me. It was like,
Mhm.
okay, not that I'm saying everybody go get divorced, right? But I'm like, okay, I've gotten alignment here where I'm starting to work personally. I've
Mhm.
gotten alignment where I'm choosing not to be in a toxic workplace, but
Mhm.
then I was still choosing it at home.
Okay.
And so that was the third domino that had to fall
Mhm.
of where I'm on a healing journey and I've got to remove things that are not aligned with where I'm going. That's a long story in regards to the divorce because that was probably the hardest decision. But I had to take a look back to figure out why I was there anyway. And it was because I had never addressed that first thing, the trauma. So it was never really our destiny anyway to be together. But I got 2 beautiful children and we got Riley on the sides out of it. There's a bright side, right?
Okay, so a lot that's a lot of different things along
Mhm.
that. I love that you're talking about the fact that you had to have courage as you were going through all of this
Mhm.
because so many people are burnt out. We work way too many hours. Sometimes we've got multiple jobs.
Okay.
We're trying as women to sometimes be the boss at work and then manage the household and be the wife and be the mother. And then on top of that, some of us are also homeschooling, all of those different roles and hats that we have to play. And it is terrifying to take any of those hats off. What are some encouraging words that you could give to other people who are scared of making changes?
What I think about when I'm a little different because because I've done what I just told you, just change me. But I
Mhm.
also want to just mention that I had been through many changes before. So before
Mhm.
this all happened, I had moved 7 times over a span of
Mhm.
13 years. So change was my last name, right? On top of being taught that in the workplace. So I want to acknowledge first that it's not easy. But this is where I've gotten to and where I would encourage other people. And that's consider the cost. What is the cost of staying the same? And when you can write that list of it's going to cost me peace, it's going to cost me years off of my life, it's going to cost my health, it may cost my legacy because my children may see me do something that I don't want them necessarily to repeat. Like those are big costs. And then you look at what's the benefit or maybe what's the cost of changing because there's a cost that comes with that as well. And you compare those couple of lists of what does it cost me to stay the same? What is the benefits or the cost of making the change? I'm willing to bet, just practically, that when you look at those two lists together, you're going to realize that, okay, it's probably good for me to get out of this situation. Or maybe you can't do it all at the same time like I did, because that was crazy, Mary. And I moved to a different city in the
Oh
midst
my
of all this. I
goodness.
came to
Yeah.
Austin. So that's crazy. Don't do that if that's what you're thinking, unless you can. But just start looking at what piece needs to be moved first after you really weigh the cost of staying in a situation or
Mhm.
continuing a behavior or staying in a workplace or on whatever it is. So that's what I would say, just practically write it out
Okay.
and determine what it's going to cost you or what you'll gain from making the change.
So outside of being afraid, I know a
Hmm.
lot of the pushback that we hear when we're working with clients, whether they're men or women, on how do we have that happier life? How do we be the happier version of ourselves? The number one question that comes up in that conversation is, how will I afford that? I can't give up that job because
Mm,
that's how we're paying our.
that's a good question. In terms of when somebody's making a decision to leave a
Mhm.
workplace, definitely be strategic and be
Mhm.
smart. I'm going to answer this question out of two sides of my mouth.
Okay.
You want to be strategic. You don't want
Mhm.
to do anything that's going to leave you homeless.
Mhm.
So you want to look at, okay, what does the next 30, 60, 90 days look like
Mhm.
financially? What do I need to get out of this situation? And then you also want to look at what does the future look like? So what do I need to save or get a coach, get some counsel so you all can look at that together. I would never advise somebody, oh, just stop and go and
Mhm.
jeopardize your household. And there is again a cost for staying somewhere
Mhm.
that will have an impact on your bank
Mhm.
account if your mind is not at rest, if
Mhm.
you end up in the hospital because you're not taking care of yourself. So there's a cost there.
Yeah.
So I think that it does require a little bit of courage. And I think what it takes too is for you to sit back and realize what's really going on around you.
Mhm.
And when I say that, I'm going to use myself as an example. I was afraid to leave the job because I was a breadwinner for my home. Like I would always think if I don't keep this job, everything's going to hell in the handbasket. And
Mhm.
that's not what I want. But I have forgotten about all these skills that I had picked up on a job that are now money generating for me right now. So on the other side, if you got to go because you just can't take it no more, like me, then just start to take inventory of what skills, what attributes you have that you can transfer over into another job or something that you do for yourself. So immediately when I was in transition from one job to the next, we started doing resume and LinkedIn coaching. And so that again, that was something that I learned from building my own LinkedIn brand and from
Mhm.
mentoring so many people when I was in the workplace. I turned that into what now is 5 minute career hacks. Yeah, that's the be strategic, look at it practically, get you some support. And then if you need to make the move right away, make sure, okay, these are some skills that I need to leverage in my next role. One of the challenges people say they have is time. I don't have time to look at my skills and do something else. And I'm like, let's really take a step back and look at what you're doing with your work days. Are you overworking yourself when you don't even have to? Do you need to work the 12 hours? If you feel like 12 hours is your work ethic standard, why don't you give the job the 8 hours that's how they ask for, is the 8 hours. Take the other four and do something for yourself. And you could even lessen that. So let's just say you take 30 minutes a day. and work on one of those skills or start to build your business. But you got to make a decision and make a sacrifice in order to do that. So hopefully that answered the question.
Yeah. So we get a lot of people that are also the breadwinners of their households. And they are in jobs that they're just miserable in because they took the job to be the breadwinner, not because it's something they were passionate about, not because it was something that they love, and they really hate where they're working, but they're so afraid of starting their own business. So, what are some? I love that you're saying, look at those skills that you do have. We also tell them, look at the things you're passionate about because if it's something that you love, then it doesn't feel like work. What are some other things that they can look at outside of what are those skills you already have? And then what are the things that you're passionate about?
Before we even look at, I think the people who have that challenge of, I don't know if I can do this. When I think about what sustained me and what helped me to see some of the things that we're talking about, passion, I'd say the third thing is maybe values, because you want to be in value aligned. The thing that sustained me though, Mary, was having community. I could not figure this out alone. Like a room or talking to someone who wasn't aligned with me, I was gonna stay in the workplace. When I started having conversations with my therapist, with my coach, mentor, with other friends who were on the same path to offer sound advice, that was where I started to pick up some of the strategies that I'm able to talk about today. But I didn't come up with that alone. So I would say, to your point, value, passions, what's your purpose? Do something that's aligned with your value system. I would say a question that we ask in 5 Minute Career Hack is, what would you do and you didn't get paid for it? You can do it for the rest of your life.
That's a
And
good
sit down and think about, okay, how can I monetize that thing? For me, I can sit around and run my mouth all day long. I am an athlete, Mary. I run my mouth and I jump to conclusions all day. I could choose to do all these, and I can do a lot of things. It's overwhelming and intimidating to even me, but I'm in purpose and power when I'm speaking. And so I've made a conscious decision that my workshops, my speaking, my panels, that's the thing I can do all day long,
Okay.
no matter what. And now I'm continuing to build business around
Okay.
that. Yeah.
So personally for you, as you went from being burnt out to being in alignment, what were some changes that you noticed in your health, in your mood, and then behaviors and relationships?
Yeah. I think one, I had to, before I answer the question, I did have to give up this thought process that I was overcoming burnout and I was going to heal from it.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't start to recognize the changes until I realized that one, burnout is most times inevitable because life be life. And so it's something that I'm always working on. So what it looks like now, or what's to answer your question, presence. Like I have, now that I'm aware, I can feel when I'm about to hit burnout. Like I told you when I walked in here, I said, okay, got to go. Not to burn out before November 15th because I know I can't.
So what were the changes that you noticed in
Yeah.
your mood and your health and your behavior?
So mentally, I was more present because I have more of awareness.
Okay.
Also, I went through a lifestyle change as well. I started juicing more.
Yeah.
Not to say I'm still consistent, but there was a point in time you could find me on the internet juicing every single day. So I was working on my gut health. I had this limiting belief growing up from something that my father said to me when I was 11, that I was not athletic. Working out is not something I desire. And actually, when I work out is when I feel my best mentally. I can't because of my knee right now, but that's one of the changes. And I would also say, and this is the big one, and I talk about this all the time, sleep. When I was burned out, and because of what I learned about rest, I was sleeping 3 to 4 hours a night.
Oh my
And,
goodness.
and holding it as like a badge of honor. Like I said out loud to my mentor, oh, I'm a 3 and 4 hour sleeper and I'm good. That's all I need because that's what I watched my mom do. That's what my mom still does it. My grandmother, that's what she did. I put on the Apple Watch, start tracking my sleep, took the Apple Watch out the drawer that was in there for 2 years, start tracking my sleep. Now sleep is my number one priority. So that working out, sleeping, eating healthy, that has those things, and journaling, I would say, those things have improved my mood. It is very hard raising little kids. My kids are 8 and 10. Am I perfect at not having a short temper? No. But I handle them better and I'm more emotionally aware of what's going on around us because I'm taking this healthier lifestyle approach to my day to day.
So sleep is a huge one. Hear that
You can talk about it if you want to.
Yes.
Well.
To hear that you were getting so little sleep, like that just Sleep has always been something that is so important to me. If I don't get 8 hours of sleep, we are not having a conversation because I am so grumpy. So, just with the sleep by itself, what did you notice that changed as far as energy and mood? Because
Oh,
that's massive.
yeah, it was immediate, honestly. I probably obsessed over it for a little bit to where I was waking up going, "Ooh, I can't wait to go to bed." So I had to make it a thing, but I noticed immediately that I was more mentally clear.
Mhm.
I was able to not get tired faster in a day. There were other things going on. I was drinking a lot of coffee and there was some substance abuse stuff going on as well. But
Mhm.
when I decided to focus on making sure I got 7 to 9 hours of sleep, I would say mental clarity is the biggest thing that I saw.
Mhm.
When I'm resting, my body is also healing and recharging. And so I was less achy.
Because all of your cellular repair and your muscles, all of it's occurring while you're sleeping.
Absolutely. I was watching all the videos, going through this process of don't drink, don't eat too much before you go to bed. One expert recommended that I have pomegranate juice for about
Mhm.
30 minutes. I was turning the air down to 69. I got new sheets. I invested in a Tempur-Pedic. It was an immediate shift in my energy level.
Mhm.
But because I did not sleep for 20 something years, it's still something I have to actively work on. Even today, when my friends are like, "Are you resting?" I'm like, absolutely. Or say no to going out to
Oh,
make
yeah.
sure I get my sleep. I had a friend yesterday who was like, "Man, you do so much. When do you rest?" I said, "At night." Like, I have to go because I'm not going to be okay. I'm not going to be able to hear you. I'm not making clear sentences.
Yeah.
And honestly, this is what I think is interesting that I'm noticing now. If I don't get the 7 to 9 hours, I actually can't, like, I almost can't go on. And if I do go on, I'm just not myself. And I don't like that. So it's a non negotiable for me. I did once say, "Oh, let's, because sleep is on my calendar." That's how passionate I am about it. It has my bedtime on there. At first, I was saying sleep first so I can get through the rest of my day. This year, I've taken a different approach before I hurt my knee, and it was the workout is the priority
Mhm.
because I work out. It helps
Okay.
me sleep better. And then, so I switched it up, and not that sleep isn't a priority, but I put the workout first. So now that's just more stretching than it is going
Mhm.
to the gym. But that workout really helps me sleep better. And when I
Mhm.
started to notice that, like, so all that feels
Yeah.
better as well.
So there's a lot of myths around sleep, right? That we can only get 3 or 4 hours of sleep and we're going to be fine. But reality is that everybody is different.
Hmm.
Men actually require less sleep than
Hmm.
women do.
Hmm.
And over the course of age, our sleep needs change.
Absolutely.
So we have to
Absolutely.
adapt and change and listen to our bodies. I'm going to get
Hmm.
another hour and see how I feel. And I'll put off a meeting and be like, I can't.
You have to.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know my brain's not going to function.
Yep. You have to prioritize it.
So sleep is such a big part of that. I don't have an Apple Watch. I'm a Samsung person,
Okay.
so
I
I've
still
got
love
one
you.
of those. And I'll wear that and monitor. On some of those mornings when I wake up and I look, I haven't hit enough REM sleep, and that's why I'm so tired. And I look back at the night before, maybe I was on my phone a little too late last night. So yeah, those devices, as much as I don't like wearing them all
Yep.
of the time, they can be really helpful in identifying some of those things that are impacting your sleep, your
Yep.
mood, or blood sugar is
Yeah.
another interesting
Mm.
one. Have you ever put on one of the constant glucose
I haven't.
monitors?
I haven't.
So I got one.
Okay.
And I am learning some really crazy stuff about my own body.
Okay.
I've been in this body for 40 plus years,
Uh-huh.
and I'm really just now getting in contact with how different things that I do through the course of the day impact me.
Okay.
So if I eat carbs after 7 o'clock in the middle of the night, my blood sugar is spiking up over 200 and then it's plummeting down below 70.
Oh my goodness.
And every single time that I've noticed that, that's also when I've woken up in the middle of the night is when my blood sugar plummeted to sleep.
Interesting. I like this. We'll have to talk more about what my next level should be.
I'm absolutely adoring it. And then the carbs matter, like which
Mhm.
of the carbs. So the ones that are causing my sugar to spike really high is I'm gluten free and I try to be paleo and carnivore for the most part, but every now and then I'm like, wow, that piece of sourdough bread looks really good. So I'm gonna have that.
Mm.
What spikes my sugar?
Yeah, man. I'm tracking what you're saying. So I do need you to give me the details before I leave
Okay.
with this glucose patch. And what came to me while you were talking about that, Because really what it is, it's the same thing that applies to sleep, that applies
Mhm.
to, at one point, I looked at one of the things I did was my blood pressure tracking. And so when I experienced burnout, and one of those changes that I forgot to mention was my Apple Watch was also telling me what my resting heart rate was. I was sitting in the meeting and I got stressed. And my watch,
Yelled at you.
it did, it vibrated. And I was like, whoa, what's going on here? And I was upset.
Yeah.
What you measure, you
Mhm.
manage.
Yeah.
So when I start measuring my sleep, I just know I'm sleeping good. But when I start measuring my sleep, I manage it better. When I start measuring and having, I need to close my rings every day for my workouts, then that's how I came to enjoy workouts.
Yeah.
Blood pressure, okay, that's gonna make me, I start valuing meditation, and I gotta keep my resting heart rate down. I can't get stressed and
Yeah.
whatever happened. I love that, like where you are with the now looking at how foods specifically make you respond. And now seeing a connection to those other three
Mhm.
things, I'm very intrigued. And it sounds like something I'm probably gonna obsess over for about 3 months, and then I'm gonna get back to normal again.
So the other ones that got me were if you eat while working. If I take my lunch in front of the computer, my blood sugar spikes again.
Yep.
And if I eat while watching TV, my blood sugar spikes again.
Yeah.
But if I turn everything off and I just sit down at the table and I'm having a meal with other people, my blood sugar is staying around 100 where it's supposed to be,
Interesting.
even if I'm eating the same food.
Wow. Okay. I'm in awe a little bit because I think this again, this, and we talked about it earlier, like there's no arrival point. So even I know one of my biggest challenges right now is I don't eat enough. And then I'm on these dips of when I eat healthy versus when I don't. I'm not perfect at it, but I think, and it's divine that we're talking about this today because this is where I need to be.
Yeah, somebody just told me about it, I wanna say last month, and I was like, "I'm gonna get one of
Say
those because
less.
I need to understand how my body's working
Yeah.
too." And wow, it has been eye-opening.
Wow.
Mhm.
Okay. We got, yeah, you have to send me the link or whatever I need to have because I can't run around anymore.
Better too.
Yes, yes. You've given me two solutions since I've been here today. So I feel blessed.
Okay, if people wanna look for you and they want a little bit more information or even to participate in one of your workshops or one of your seminars, how do they find you?
The first place they can find me is on LinkedIn. Go to
Mhm.
LinkedIn. My name is Candace, Candyce Hunt, Hunt. Search me there. You'll find me and send me a DM, or you can go to 5minutecareerhack.com. There's a place where you can subscribe to our newsletter, and that gets you in touch with us as well. Or you can email us at admin@5minutecareerhack.com. We'd love to learn more about the needs of your career, your personal development for your team. We have some signature workshops, signature courses and programs for people, but we also like to understand the specific needs of organizations and where people are in their career, and we can customize to solve for the challenges or to help you get from point A to point B, whether it be with your personal development, professional development, or your team and organizational development. Hit me on LinkedIn. I'm always there.
Thank you so much for joining us
Thank you
today.
for
This is a
having me.
conversation.
Oh, thank you.
I love that.
Yes.
I'm so glad we have the most amazing community around us here, and I get to meet and work with and be around people like Candace on a daily basis in our community. So that community part is absolutely so important as to who
Absolutely.
is around you. So
Absolutely. Yes, thank you. And then I can't wait to have you on the 5 Minute Career Hack podcast as well. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube, the 5 Minute Career Hack.
I look forward to it. Thank you to all of our subscribers. For those of you who haven't yet, please subscribe, follow so that the next time a video comes out. Thanks a lot.